When HR leaders are searching for best performance management software, they're typically trying to solve for a lack of engagement problem. So a system that helps drive adoption, increases communication, and ultimately performance for their workforce. HR leaders are looking at what are HR metrics that we can increase in those outcomes. So usually that's adoption, maybe it's a net promoter score, is it just completion rates? We try to push them a little bit further to also look at business outcomes, which is what executives mostly care about. So that is profitability, cost optimization, maybe even just efficiency in performance overall as an organization. When a performance management software is adopted and used effectively, typically what we see increase is engagement first and foremost. So on average, we see that employees are logging in and engaging with the system on average 7 times per month. So that is not just logging in, it is actually engaging, and that's due to living in the flow of work. We suggest when HR leaders are looking to evaluate our performance enablement software or management, some of the things and criteria that they need to take a look at is first and foremost, what is the UX support? Is it user-friendly? Secondly, is the system going to help change behavior? That's a huge one. And then also, is there, security and compliance is a huge component. Then I would also say, in 2026, is there an AI component that doesn't necessarily replace the work of HR leaders and employees, but rather increases the efficacy? The best way for enterprise organizations to evaluate a vendor would be to absolutely demonstrate the software so they can see it in action, but ultimately evaluating on what is going to change employee and manager behavior on a day-to-day at scale, not so much just a feature list on an Excel spreadsheet, because we know you can have all the tools and trinkets in the world, but if your employees aren't using it, don't find it valuable, then ultimately that program could potentially fail. The 3 main approaches when looking at a performance management software are 3 different buckets. So typically we see HCM or HRIS performance modules. We see point solutions or even best of breeds, and low-code custom softwares. Enterprise organizations typically choose an HCM or HRIS platform because it's seen as safe and a credible system of record. The cons of an HCM module would be that it is a system of record, not a system of engagement. HCM modules or HRIS systems are supporting that traditional performance management, which is more compliance, traditional retroactively. There's not so much flexibility to capture data in real time. Point solutions, or what we like to call a best of breeds performance solution, makes sense when organizations want to actively change how performance happens, not just document it. Teams usually choose this when they want to increase adoption, speed, and impact matter more than having everything live in one system. Enterprise organizations will choose low-code or custom builds, typically because custom can allow a little bit more flexibility depending on the needs. The cons of using a low-code or custom build module is ongoing ownership, increases time, energy, spend. In 2026, if I could pick a few non-negotiables for enterprise performance management softwares, it would be first and foremost integrations. Does it live in the flow of work? Meaning, are we meeting employees where they're at? Does this live in the tools that exist today within the organization? Second would be, does it provide a continuous feedback framework? Meaning, do employees have access to continuous conversations that are not rigid, but more flexibility and allow for a framework to capture information and conversations that lives outside of that annual performance review? Third would be, is there an AI component that helps drive efficiency and speed and also helps aggregate data to help cut down on administrative burden? And lastly would be, does the software provide real-time data and insights for enterprise organizations to make real-time business decisions? So when evaluating performance management softwares in the SMB space and the enterprise space, we typically find there are a lot of distinct differences. SMB usually has a couple hundred employees. They have leaner teams. They're looking for a more out-of-the-box solution because there is not a lot of complexity that lives within the organization. When we look at the enterprise space, we typically find that there are very large teams, upwards of 20,000, 50,000 plus. They are global organizations, and even at the individual level, there's different languages that need to be supported. And then ultimately, there's potentially different frameworks depending on how large that organization can be, based on the different processes that may exist. Betterworks is best for enterprise teams that want performance enablement through OKRs, continuous conversations, feedback, calibration to drive consistent manager behaviors, not just run traditional review cycles. Their strengths turn performance into an operating cadence and meet employees where they're at by connecting goals directly into check-ins and feedback, talent reviews, and have strong analytics and live in the flow of work via integrations. Trade-offs include, because it's an enablement and not an HRIS platform, success depends on leadership alignment and change management to establish rhythm and expectations. Otherwise, the system can go underused. Workday is a performance management system within the HRIS suite, which standardizes enterprises, prioritizing suite consolidation and risk reduction. Their strengths are they're a trusted enterprise platform with strong IT and security alignment, global scale. Trade-offs include Workday was built by engineers and was engineered as a system of record, not so much a system of engagement. So workflows can feel more compliance-based. Do expect higher IT dependency and a slower iteration when HR wants to adjust the process. SuccessFactors is great for large global enterprise organizations that, again, want performance management inside of their HRIS SAP talent suite. Strengths include it's built for a process of governance at scale, configurable workflows, permissions, auditability, and broad suite coverage that IT can secure and maintain across several different regions. Trade-offs include, because it's a system of record built by engineers, the UX can feel a bit heavy for managers, and meaningful changes can often come with higher IT administrative burden. Great for running the process, but harder when the goal is performance enablement or habit change. Lattice is best for HR orgs in the middle market space looking for performance management support with a modern UX. Their strength is strong user experience for employees and managers. Trade-offs include typically skews more performance management versus performance enablement at the enterprise scale. For more larger, complex orgs, confirm that governance needs advanced calibration, rigor, complex permission, goal process depth, and whether you're buying a great PM experience versus a system of record. 15.5. Best for organizations leaning into manager effectiveness and continuous coaching rhythms within the middle market space. Strengths include habit formation with check-ins and coaching with low IT overhead. Trade-offs can include if you need enterprise-grade governance like complex calibration rules, strict controls, auditability, it can require add-ons or process work to match system of record expectations. PerformYard is best for organizations in middle market space that want flexibility, form-based reviews, and straightforward performance process management. Strengths include configurable review cycles and workflows with a heavy suite, pragmatic for HR teams. Trade-offs can include It can be less oriented towards an always-on performance habits or OKRs and deeper talent analytics at scale. Leap Sum. Best for mid-market enterprise organizations, especially in the UK, that want an all-in-one people ops and performance enablement platform. Their strengths include ease of use and adoption, which is a core differentiator, and intuitive UI. Trade-offs can include all-in-one breadth can mean you need to validate depth versus your primary objective and confirm how much IT support is required when scaling governance, permissions, and cross-module data consistency. Culture Amp is best for mid-market organizations that want to extend into performance and development in the same platform. Strengths can include people science and benchmarking with very strong user experience survey results and clear suite consolidation. Trade-offs can include Culture Amp's DNA is listening and engagement first. So validate whether performance motion you need is performance management versus enablement. I'd also confirm if all-in-one impacts the depth across your most critical use case. Bamboo HR is best for SMBs needing an HRIS with basic performance management. Strengths include a simple UX, low IT burden, and fast rollout for lightweight cycles. Trade-offs can include designed for HR administration, not complex enablement, limited for enterprise governance and sustained performance habits at scale. Clear Company, best for SMB and mid-market talent suite, which is often applicant tracking led with performance as a module. Strengths include convenience of suite workflows with moderate IT overhead. Trade-offs can include performance depth can vary, often leans more process and tooling than true enablement. So validate whether it will drive manager adoption or just completion of review cycles. Looking ahead 12 to 18 months, the capabilities that we think will most matter are the following. Continuous performance habits, lightweight check-ins, real-time feedback to avoid annual-only cycles, which are traditionally retroactively looking backwards, and more real-time information. So dynamic goals, visibility, alignment maps versus manual spreadsheets. In the flow of work integrations and APIs. So integrating into tools like Slack, Teams, any other HRIS, and Sync, so updates happen where work happens. Calibration and talent analytics. Multi-grid calibration and analytics to make decisions fair, consistent, and scalable. AI that removes administrative burden. So drafting and summarizing goals, providing feedback, increasing development recommendations will be key. And lastly, I'd say security and permissions and compliance. So stronger governance expectations as these systems become more decision critical.